Your life isn't falling apart. It's being rebuilt. The chaos, the silence, the doubt, they're not your enemies. They're your awakening. Every pain is instruction. Every delay is alignment. This audiobook will break the mental patterns keeping you small and rewire the way you see yourself, your power, and your future. Don't escape your transformation. Step into it. Before we dive in, take a second to hit that like button and let us know in the comments where you're listening from. You might be surprised to find someone listening from the same place as you. Introduction. Listen closely. Your life will not change the day the world applauds you. It changes the moment you finally decide to witness yourself with uncompromising clarity. If you are tired of feeling behind, if you have spent days, months, or years giving your time, energy, and attention to everything except your own growth, this is the threshold. You stop, you breathe, you rebuild. This is not about anyone else. It is about you, about choosing now to place your focus where it always belonged. Rebuild yourself is not a slogan. It is an agreement with your future. Every single day you stand in front of two doors. One leads to what is missing, the other to what you can fix. The first door feeds distraction, comparison, and delay. The second door invites action, quiet, steady, honest action. This audiobook is not here to hype you. It is here to walk beside you as you take full responsibility for what your life becomes. Real confidence, real clarity, real progress, built through decisions, not declarations. If you have been drifting, this is your moment to reset. If you have been doubting, this is your moment to return to yourself. You do not need a perfect plan to begin. Perfection is a delay mechanism. You need one act of alignment that says, I will focus on the one person I have avoided for too long, me. The world outside can be loud. Your attention is finite. Where your attention goes, your life flows. Treat your attention as sacred because it is the currency with which you purchase your future. Here is a truth that science and spirit agree on: your focus changes your brain and your energy. Neuroscience calls it neuroplasticity. What you repeat, you wire. Spiritual science calls it coherence. What you embody, you attract. Every thought carries a frequency. Every choice emits a signal. When you scatter your attention, you dilute your power. When you concentrate it on meaningful action, your inner field organizes. Your tone changes. Your boundaries strengthen. Your decisions become cleaner. Your life responds. You have been taught to wait for motivation. Do not wait. Motivation is a guest. Discipline is the house you live in. Confidence does not descend from a speech. It rises from integrity, keeping the small promises no one sees. You earn dignity not by what you own or what others say, but by the quiet evidence you gather each day. I did what I told myself I would do. Brick by brick, you rebuild a self you can trust. There will be resistance. The old voice will whisper that you are not ready, not enough, not yet. That voice is not prophecy. It is memory. It is the echo of patterns you have outgrown. You are allowed to be both honest and kind with yourself. Honesty says, I have delayed. Kindness says, I begin now. Cruelty is not clarity. Clarity is responsibility with compassion. You do not need applause. You do not need permission. You do not need the perfect morning, the perfect schedule, or the perfect mood. What you need is one moment of decision that becomes momentum. Think of a builder arriving at an empty lot. They do not argue with the ground. They measure, they plan, and they lay the first stone, then the next. They do not skip steps. They show up daily. Treat your mind, your habits, and your time with that same reverence. You are the architect. You are also the foundation. Understand the physics of your choices. Every decision casts a vote for the person you are becoming. When you choose to rise at the time, you said you would vote cast. When you speak to yourself with respect after a mistake, vote cast. When you move your body, nourish your mind, and guard your focus, votes accumulate. Eventually, identity tips. You become the person you kept voting for. This book will ask you to value silence as much as effort, to protect your energy as fiercely as your goals, to replace perfection with progress, and to treat no as a sacred boundary, not a guilty apology. It will ask you to let go of people who drain your field and habits that fracture your attention. It will ask you to slow down enough to hear the voice that does not shout, the quiet intelligence within you that has been right the whole time. You are not rebuilding to impress anyone. You are rebuilding to remember yourself. The world you experience is a mirror of your standards, your focus, your coherence. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are simply at a decision point. Reach for the handle of the second door. Step through. Tend to what you can fix. Act before chaos decides for you. Your future is not waiting for a crowd. It is waiting for your consent. No more waiting. No more excuses. Today your attention returns home. Today your energy is organized around a single truth: you matter. Chapter 1. Treat yourself like you matter. You cannot rebuild a life you treat carelessly. Every transformation begins the moment you decide that you are worth your own respect. Not in theory, not in words, but in the micro decisions that compose your days. When you ignore your needs, when you silence your own intuition to please others, you are teaching your subconscious that you are secondary. But when you choose to keep one promise to yourself, you send a new signal: I am someone whose word has weight. That single shift changes everything. The first relationship you ever have, and the one that will determine every other, is the one between you and yourself. If that bond is neglected, every other connection eventually mirrors that neglect. You'll accept too little, tolerate too much, and drift through experiences that don't reflect your worth. People often say they lack confidence, but confidence is not a gift. It is the quiet certainty that grows from keeping faith with yourself. Think about the moment you wake each morning. Before you speak a word, you have already told yourself something by how you rise, how you move, how you begin. The act of pressing snooze again and again might seem trivial, but energetically, it is a declaration. My goals can wait. My time is optional. I am not yet ready to live. The mind listens to these subtle signals. Over time, they accumulate into identity. If you want to rebuild, you must become fluent in the language of self-respect, spoken not in talk, but in action. Would you treat a dear friend the way you treat yourself in private thought? When they failed, would you humiliate them? When they dreamed, would you mock them? When they hesitated, would you call them weak? You wouldn't. Yet many speak to themselves in ways they would never speak to another soul. Understand this: your mind is recording. Every word you direct inward becomes a program, and your body follows its script. Speak with firmness, yes, but never cruelty. Discipline grows from structure, not shame. Psychology tells us that the brain wires through repetition. Spirituality tells us that energy amplifies through focus. Together, they reveal a law. What you continually express becomes form. The way you treat yourself is not a private matter. It is a frequency broadcast into the field of life, attracting experiences that match its tone. When you diminish yourself, life echoes back, diminishment. When you honor yourself, life rearranges to mirror that respect. To rebuild means to stop negotiating your own value. You do not postpone respect until achievement. You practice it now. Keep your word to yourself in small things. Finish the workout. Write the page. Prepare the meal with care. These are not chores. They are rituals of alignment. Each kept promise adds a brick of certainty to your foundation. Confidence is not built in applause, but in solitude when you choose action over avoidance, even though no one is watching. If you find yourself harsh or impatient with your progress, remember, the goal is not perfection, but consistency. Cruel self-talk drains energy. Compassionate honesty restores it. Tell yourself the truth: I slipped here, but I can correct it, and then correct it. The universe responds not to guilt, but to movement. You may have inherited voices of doubt from parents, teachers, or past failures, but those voices are echoes, not destiny. They can be rewritten. Each time you act in integrity, you overwrite an old frequency. Each time you treat yourself with respect, you re-educate your nervous system to expect goodness, stability, and order. You are literally sculpting new neural pathways, creating a mind that trusts itself again. Picture a builder tending to sacred architecture. They don't rush. They measure. They reinforce. They work with devotion because the structure matters. You are that builder, and the structure is your own life. Show up daily. Patch the cracks. Replace the weak beams of self-doubt with the solid timber of discipline. The process is not loud, but it is holy. Start today with awareness. Notice the tone of your inner voice. Notice the choices that repeat. Notice how your body reacts when you honor or ignore yourself. These are your blueprints. Revise them consciously. Treat your mind, body, and spirit like land you are reclaiming, because you are. The world will always treat you according to the standard you set internally. Raise it. Stand taller. Speak to yourself as if you are someone worth listening to, because you are. Every respectful thought, every fulfilled commitment, every moment of quiet integrity is another brick in the temple of self-trust. Build patiently, and soon the reflection in the mirror will look back at you with steady eyes that say, I matter, and I live like it. Chapter 2. Protect your energy. Protect your future. One of the most sacred acts of rebuilding yourself is learning to guard your energy as if your future depends on it, because it does. Every moment of focus, every emotion, every conversation is an exchange of energy. You are not just managing time, you are managing frequency. The people you allow close to you either amplify that frequency or distort it. You cannot rise while being anchored to what pulls you down. There are those whose presence nourishes you, who leave you feeling lighter, clearer, more alive. And there are those who drain you, leaving behind the weight of confusion, tension, and fatigue. Pay attention. Your body is a living instrument. It tells you the truth long before your mind catches up. If you consistently feel smaller after being around someone that is not coincidence, it is feedback. Energy does not lie. Most people stay stuck not because they lack ability, but because they remain entangled with the wrong vibrations. They feel obligated to maintain connections that constantly leak their power. They confuse loyalty with self-abandonment. But loyalty that requires you to shrink is not loyalty, it is bondage. Spiritual science calls this energetic dissonance. When two frequencies no longer harmonize, one must adjust or depart. You were not designed to live in constant resistance. Your inner field, the electromagnetic rhythm of your heart, your thoughts, your nervous system needs space to regenerate. When you spend that energy soothing others' chaos, explaining your worth or fixing what doesn't want to heal, you drain your creative life force. The law of conservation applies to spirit too. What you give away unconsciously is what you no longer have to build with. This does not mean you must become cold or distant. It means you must become discerning. Not every invitation deserves your yes. Not every apology requires re-entry. Some souls are lessons, not lifelong companions. The universe moves people in and out of your life to keep your evolution in motion. When you cling to what is complete, you block what is next. Letting go is not cruelty. It is energetic hygiene. Every cycle has an ending. When you feel guilt for releasing someone, ask yourself, am I keeping this connection because it grows me or because it's familiar? Growth is uncomfortable, yes, but stagnation is toxic. You cannot protect everyone and protect your peace at the same time. Choose peace. Imagine your energy as a light. Each thought, each relationship, each responsibility draws from it. When you give endlessly without renewal, the light dims. When you protect your boundaries, the flame steadies. Boundaries are not walls. They are filters. They allow love, respect, and authenticity to pass through, while blocking manipulation, chaos, and emotional noise. The stronger your filter, the brighter your life becomes. Science calls this emotional regulation. Spiritual philosophy calls it resonance. Both describe the same truth: your internal state attracts matching experiences. A calm, focused mind attracts order. A restless, drained mind attracts confusion. That is why protecting your energy is not optional. It is the foundation of conscious creation. You do not owe access to those who consistently disrespect your time, dismiss your goals, or mock your healing. Their behavior is not a puzzle for you to solve. It is a mirror reflecting your new standard. When you choose to walk away, you are not rejecting them. You are choosing alignment with your future. Do this gently but firmly. Some departures require silence, not confrontation. You simply stop entertaining what depletes you. You stop over-explaining your boundaries. You let distance do what words cannot. In time, the space you create fills with clarity, peace, and strength. The noise fades. The energy returns. This is the truth most people avoid. Peace will cost you people. Growth will cost you comfort. Clarity will cost you the version of yourself that tolerated too much. But what you gain in exchange, focus, vitality, freedom, is worth far more. When you are no longer bound by draining ties, your energy rises in frequency. You begin to think sharper, create faster, love deeper, and live lighter. Protecting your energy is not selfish. It is sacred stewardship of your life force. You are not meant to be available to everything. You are meant to resonate with what supports your evolution. Release what no longer harmonizes. Surround yourself with those who celebrate your expansion, not those who fear it. Because when your circle vibrates higher, so does your life. And when your energy is clear, your path becomes undeniable. The people meant for you will recognize that light, not because you chase them, but because you shine. When something inside you shifts, that's awareness. Like this video. So YouTube shows you more content that makes you think. Chapter 3. Small wins create big energy. Perfection is an illusion disguised as ambition. It tells you that everything must be flawless before you begin. It whispers that if you can't do it perfectly, you shouldn't do it at all. That voice has trapped more dreams than failure ever could. The truth is, this life changes not through perfection, but through small, consistent victories that build momentum and energy. When you focus on small wins, You activate something powerful inside you, both biologically and spiritually. In neuroscience, it's called the progress loop. Each completed action releases a small amount of dopamine, the chemical of motivation and confidence. In the realm of energy, it's resonance, the universe echoing back your effort, saying, I see you moving. Let's move together. Momentum attracts momentum. A single push of effort repeated daily carries more magic than one grand burst of inspiration. The smallest completed task, a walk, a chapter, read a promise, kept signals to your brain and your energy field that you are in motion. Energy loves motion. It organizes itself around direction. When you choose progress over perfection, the current of life begins to assist you. But perfection, on the other hand, paralyzes. It feeds the ego's hunger for control and the fear of judgment. It keeps you rehearsing instead of creating. The universe does not reward perfection. It rewards alignment. The ocean does not wait for calm to make a wave. It moves because that is its nature. You are made of the same intelligence. You were born to move, to build, to refine, not to hesitate in self-doubt. Start small. Win small. Let the rhythm of daily completion reshape your mind. If you can't meditate for 20 minutes, start with 2. If you can't write a chapter, write 1 paragraph. If you can't run a mile walk for 5 minutes. What matters is not the size of the win, but the direction of it. Each small success reinforces the identity of someone who follows through, and identity is what sustains transformation when motivation fades. Perfection is brittle. Progress is alive. When you live for perfect outcomes, you live in anxiety. When you live for progress, you live in presence. Progress says, I may not be there yet, but I am moving. That movement generates self-trust, the most valuable energy in the world. Spiritually, small wins expand your frequency, because completion emits order, and order strengthens coherence. When your internal state is coherent, when your mind, body, and actions are aligned, you become magnetic. The field around you stabilizes, and opportunities begin to match your consistency. You no longer chase. You attract through steady vibration. Perfection demands everything at once and offers nothing in return. Progress asks only for what you can give today and multiplies it. Think of small wins as investments of energy. Each one deposits a fragment of stability into your subconscious, rewriting the old narrative that said, I can't. Over time, the account grows. Suddenly, the compound interest of your own discipline becomes visible. Clearer focus, better mood, deeper confidence. Do not wait for motivation to appear before acting. Action precedes motivation. The fire is lit by friction. When you move, energy flows. When you sit in hesitation, energy stagnates. Even a small movement, cleaning 1 drawer, answering 1 message, making 1 decision, breaks inertia. Every motion forward shifts your frequency upward. Remember, small wins are not small. They are the DNA of transformation. 1 decision to act despite resistance rewires your brain, elevates your energy, and declares to the universe, I am ready. Rebuilding yourself is not a dramatic event. It is a rhythm. It is choosing again and again to move, to refine, to stay awake to your own potential. So stop chasing perfect conditions. The right moment is this moment. The perfect plan is the one you execute today. Progress does not require permission. It requires participation. At the end of the day, ask yourself, what did I complete? Not what I thought about, not what I planned, but what did I finish? Because finishing builds power. Finishing tells your spirit, we did what we said we'd do. and that quiet power accumulated day after day becomes unstoppable momentum. Progress is not a loud revolution. It is the soft hum of integrity, repeated over time. And when you stack enough small wins, they will rise like steps beneath your feet, lifting you toward a life that once felt impossible. Chapter 4. The Sacred Power of No. To rebuild yourself, you must first reclaim the word no. Not as rejection, not as defiance, but as an act of sacred self-preservation. Every yes you offer drains or directs your life force. If you keep giving it away without intention, you become a participant in your own depletion. Saying no calmly, firmly, and without guilt is how you protect the energy that fuels your future. Most people lose themselves, not through disaster, but through overcommitment. They agree to things that fracture their focus projects. They don't believe in relationships that drain habits, that serve no purpose, except comfort. They live like open circuits, allowing every demand to siphon power. But an open circuit never builds voltage. Power accumulates only when energy is contained. Boundaries are not barriers. They are containers for strength. Think of your energy like sacred fire. It can illuminate your world or burn you out, depending on how you manage it. Every time you say yes, when you mean no, you throw another log into someone else's fire, while your own begins to fade. Eventually, you look around and wonder why nothing in your life feels like you. That is what happens when you trade authenticity for approval. No is not rude. It is clarity spoken aloud. It is the moment you stop trying to please everyone and begin aligning with purpose. When you hesitate to say no out of fear of being misunderstood, of disappointing someone, of losing connection, you are teaching your nervous system that peace must always come second to comfort. But maturity demands the opposite, short-term discomfort for long-term freedom. From a scientific view, every decision either activates or depletes the prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for focus and vision. From a spiritual view, every decision either raises or lowers your frequency. When you overextend, your brain's energy weakens, your aura dims, and confusion becomes the norm. When you stand firm in your no, your field strengthens, your direction sharpens, and life begins to align itself around your clarity. You do not owe anyone a detailed explanation for your boundaries. No, I'm not available is a full sentence. The urge to over-explain is born from guilt, and guilt is a sign of misalignment. Remember, you are not rejecting people. You are protecting your purpose. The ones meant to walk beside you will respect that. Those who cannot respect it were never walking with you. They were walking with your compliance. Rebuilding your life requires rebuilding your standards. If you allow everyone to step over your time, you silently teach them that your boundaries are negotiable. The moment you begin saying no with conviction, the dynamic shifts. You communicate that your energy has value, that your time is intentional, and that you will not trade your peace for temporary approval. At first, you may feel guilt, especially if you've lived your life as a constant giver. But that guilt is only the echo of an old pattern dying. Stay steady. Over time, your no will begin to feel holy. You will notice that every refusal opens a doorway space for rest, focus, and genuine connection. You'll realize that you were not meant to do everything. You were meant to do what matters. Even nature teaches this balance. The ocean says no to the shore with every wave that retreats, yet, without that rhythm of withdrawal and return, there would be no tide, no flow, no renewal. Your boundaries work the same way. They allow movement without depletion, connection without collapse. Learn to say no in the small places, decline the distractions that promise quick pleasure but steal deep focus. Say no to conversations that spiral into gossip, to habits that blur your mind, to people who keep you rehearsing old versions of yourself. Each no is a refinement of your energy field, an act of purification. Understand this. Every no you speak with integrity is also a deeper yes to something unseen, to your peace, to your calling, to your future self. The universe does not hear rejection in your no. It hears readiness. It recognizes that you are clearing space for alignment. So begin practicing. Say no to what exhausts you. Say no to what distracts you. Say no to guilt that tells you your worth depends on how much you give. Then watch how your energy shifts, how clarity returns, how your life becomes less crowded and more sacred. Because when you master the power of no, you stop scattering your energy across noise, and you begin channeling it into purpose. You stop seeking validation, and you start radiating strength. You stop living for approval, and you start living in truth. That is the true meaning of rebuilding yourself, not doing more, but doing what matters, and saying no to everything that doesn't. Chapter 5. Slow down to hear your inner voice. In a world that never stops talking, silence has become the rarest form of intelligence. Everyone is rushing, reacting, posting, producing. But the soul speaks quietly. The higher mind whispers. The intuition that could save your life is often drowned beneath the noise of urgency. To rebuild yourself, you must slow down, not as escape, but as return. There is a voice inside you that never yells. It doesn't argue or demand. It simply knows. That knowing is the compass of your existence. Yet most people spend decades ignoring it, replacing their own truth with borrowed opinions and collective noise. They live reactive lives chasing the next goal, the next task, the next validation without realizing that speed is not the same as progress. The faster you go in the wrong direction, the further you drift from yourself. Slowing down is not laziness. It is mastery. It means you refuse to live by the tempo of chaos. When you pause, you activate awareness. Your mind moves from automatic to conscious, from noise to signal. Biologically, slowing down activates the parasympathetic nervous system, the body's healing state. Spiritually, it reopens the channel between your human mind and your higher consciousness. In stillness, you become a receiver of truth. Most people resist this practice because silence reveals what busyness hides. When you slow down, you begin to feel the emotions you've postponed, the questions you've ignored, the truths you've buried. That discomfort is not punishment, it's cleansing. The tension you feel is energy trying to move. If you stay with it, if you breathe through it, instead of running, that energy reorganizes into clarity. You begin to see patterns you couldn't see before. You realize that what you called confusion was simply overcrowding. Rebuilding yourself requires subtraction before addition. You cannot fill a cup that is already overflowing with noise. Step back. Breathe deeply. Observe what truly deserves your attention. Let silence become a habit. Create small sanctuaries in your day, a walk without your phone, a few minutes of conscious breathing, a journal session at sunrise. In those moments, you will begin to hear a distinct voice. Not fear, not doubt. Something steadier, quieter, older. That is your inner guidance, and it has been waiting for you to listen. That voice won't flatter your ego or comfort your laziness. It will tell you what needs to change. It will point toward growth, not convenience. It will nudge you to end things that no longer fit to rest when you're forcing to act when you're hesitating. Its language is sensation, a tightening in your gut, a warmth in your chest, a spark of knowing that doesn't require proof. Trust it. It is your connection to the larger field of intelligence that animates all life. Think of yourself as a tuning fork in the orchestra of existence. When you rush, your vibration becomes erratic. You can't tell which note is yours. When you slow down, you tune back to your natural frequency. You stop performing. You start aligning. And alignment is where miracles become logical. Modern life teaches you to chase answers outside yourself. Another mentor, another method, another opinion. But every teacher, every system, every philosophy is only valuable if it brings you closer to your own voice. No external wisdom can replace internal resonance. You can borrow tools, but your direction must come from within. If you sit in silence long enough, your priorities rearrange themselves. The things that truly matter glow brighter. The distractions fade. You begin to feel, not think, what is right for you. Decisions stop being guesses. They become recognition. You stop asking, "What should I do?" and start saying, "I know." At first, slowing down will feel strange. Your body may twitch to check notifications, your mind may replay old worries, your ego may whisper that you're wasting time. Stay still anyway. That restlessness is detox. You are withdrawing from overstimulation. Every minute you spend in stillness strengthens the muscle of awareness. Eventually, the silence will stop feeling empty and start feeling sacred. Remember, peace is not the absence of movement. It is the presence of meaning. When you slow down, you give meaning a chance to catch up. You begin to realize that your intuition isn't fragile, it's precise. It was never lost, only buried under motion. You don't need to travel far to hear it. You don't need to escape the world or change your life overnight. You only need to pause long enough to remember that clarity is your natural state. Beneath the noise, beneath the busyness, beneath the roles you play, there is a steady awareness watching it all. That awareness is you. So stop running. Breathe. Close your eyes. Feel the pulse of your own existence. That rhythm, the soft thud in your chest, is the original guidance system of your life. The same intelligence that moves the tides and opens flowers is beating inside you. Listen. Trust. Move when it says move. Rest when it says rest. When you learn to hear your inner voice, you no longer need constant direction from the world. You become self-led. You move from reaction to creation. And in that quiet, steady space, rebuilding no longer feels like effort. It feels like remembering. Chapter 6. Face what you've been avoiding. Avoidance is the most elegant disguise fear ever wears. It convinces you that if you delay something long enough, it will dissolve on its own. But life does not delete what you refuse to face. It stores it. Every avoided task, every unspoken truth, every emotion you suppress remains in your energy field like static interference. And over time, that interference shapes your destiny more than any external obstacle. You already know what you've been avoiding. The conversation you keep postponing. The responsibility you keep rescheduling. The decision that sits in the corner of your mind, like a closed door you walk past every day. You tell yourself you're not ready, that the timing isn't right. But avoidance isn't protection. It's stagnation. And stagnation is the slowest form of self-destruction. To rebuild yourself, you must reclaim your courage, not the loud, heroic kind, the quiet courage that says, "I will stop running." Every time you confront what you fear, the universe rearranges around your honesty. The energy that was trapped in resistance becomes fuel for transformation. Understand this. The human brain is wired for safety, not success. When you sense discomfort, your nervous system triggers escape patterns, procrastination, distraction, denial. These are not moral failures. They are outdated defense mechanisms. But when you choose awareness, you override that programming. Neuroscience calls it cognitive reappraisal. Spirituality calls it transmutation, turning dense energy into clarity. Every unfinished task carries psychic weight. You feel it as anxiety, guilt, or fatigue. It's not because you lack motivation. It's because you're carrying too many open loops of energy. Each unmade decision keeps part of your attention hostage. The moment you act, even in a small way, the weight lifts. The energy that was frozen in avoidance begins to flow again. Action is alchemy. So start small. Open one of those closed doors today. Send the message you've been avoiding. Clean the corner of your room you keep ignoring. Tell the truth you've been rehearsing in your head. Each act of confrontation sharpens your energy field. You move from being reactive to being responsible, from being a victim of delay to a master of decision. Spiritually, avoidance is resistance to truth, and truth by its nature will always resurface. The same lessons will repeat until you face them consciously. Life is patient, but it is also precise. It will keep sending the same pattern, wrapped in different circumstances until your awareness dissolves it. When you finally turn toward what you fear, you end the cycle. That is how karmic loops are broken, not by escaping, but by seeing. The things you avoid hold the exact keys to your next level. The conversation you're afraid to have may free you. The change you resist may heal you. The habit you ignore may be the one clogging your energy and stealing your peace. Every shadow you face returns light to your system. Think of avoidance like a storm cloud hovering above you. The moment you step into it, you realize it's smaller than it looked. The lightning only strikes when you turn your back to it. Facing it disarms it. Courage doesn't erase fear. It redirects it. The same energy that fuels avoidance when flipped becomes focus. Stop waiting for motivation. You don't need perfect clarity to take the first step. Clarity comes from movement, not before it. The longer you wait, the louder the internal noise becomes. But one simple act of responsibility can silence it instantly. Because the moment you face what you've avoided, your mind stops negotiating with fear and starts collaborating with truth. You may tell yourself that avoidance is harmless, that it buys you time. But in energetic terms, it fragments your field. Every delay splits your power. Every unspoken truth weakens your resonance. Facing what you fear restores coherence. Your thoughts, emotions, and actions begin to align again. That alignment is the foundation of inner strength. Remember, responsibility is not blame, it is ownership. You can acknowledge what hurt you without letting it define you. You can say, yes, this happened, and yes, it's mine to heal. That moment is liberation. It means your past no longer holds your progress hostage. This chapter is a mirror. Look into it. Ask yourself, what am I pretending not to know? The answer might sting, but it will also save you. Because what you refuse to face will control you in silence, but what you confront loses its power. So face the debt, face the truth, face the mess, face the emotion, face yourself. Even if your hands shake, even if your heart pounds, that trembling is your energy recalibrating. That fear is the sound of old patterns cracking open. You cannot rebuild what you won't repair. But once you choose to meet your truth fully honestly, without defense, you begin to move differently. Your posture changes, your energy clears, your eyes lift, and for the first time in a long time, you feel light. That light is not new, it's just you unblocked. Chapter 7. Be honest about the life you're building. Take a hard look at your life, not the filtered version you show others, but the quiet, unedited one that greets you in the mirror each morning. The life you are living right now is the result of thousands of small choices repeated daily. Every thought, every compromise, every ignored truth has built the reality standing before you. Honesty is not an attack, it's illumination. Without it, you are constructing your future in the dark. Most people are not unhappy because they lack opportunity. They are unhappy because they are living lives that are misaligned with their truth. They say they want peace, but entertain chaos. They say they want growth, but cling to habits that keep them small. They say they want success, but delay every action that could lead them there. The gap between what you say you want and what you actually do is the space where frustration grows. You cannot rebuild yourself while pretending everything is fine. Pretending is energy theft. It keeps your light dim, your vision blurred, your confidence hollow. To reclaim your energy, you must look at your life with raw honesty, not judgment, not shame, just truth. Truth is a mirror that heals when you finally stop looking away. Ask yourself, is the way I'm living today leading me toward the person I want to become, or away from them? The answer will not lie in your intentions, but in your patterns. Look at your mornings, your evenings, the way you treat your body, your money, your time. These quiet behaviors reveal the truth of your alignment. Honesty is not comfortable because it dissolves illusions. It demands that you confront your contradictions. But in spiritual science, truth is frequency. When you tell the truth even privately, your vibration rises. You re-enter coherence. The energy that was scattered between lies and appearances becomes concentrated power again. That power is clarity, and clarity moves mountains. Stop saying you are tired when you are actually undisciplined. Stop saying you lack time when you are actually overcommitted to distractions. Stop saying you are confused when you simply haven't sat in silence long enough to hear your own knowing. These are not criticisms. They are doorways. Honesty opens the door. Responsibility walks through it. In neuroscience, awareness is the first stage of transformation. When you name a pattern, you weaken its control over you. Your prefrontal cortex lights up, allowing you to choose differently. Spiritually, this is the same as shining light into shadow. Shadows lose power when illuminated. That is why truth, though it stings, is always merciful. It ends the cycle of unconscious repetition. Do not be afraid of what honesty reveals. It is not there to condemn you. It is there to free you. You cannot fix what you will not face. You cannot heal what you will not feel. You cannot expand while pretending you are already complete. To rebuild yourself, you must clear away what's false. Every lie you release creates room for alignment to return. Being honest also means acknowledging your victories. The ego focuses on flaws. The soul recognizes growth. You have already overcome more than you remember. You have already rebuilt pieces of yourself quietly, without applause. Celebrate that. Gratitude stabilizes honesty. It keeps truth from turning into self-criticism. This process will challenge your identity. When you see clearly, you realize how much of your life was built to please others, to fit systems, to match expectations that were never yours. That realization can feel like loss, but it is actually liberation. You are not losing a life, you are releasing a mask. What remains is real, and what's real will last. The universe does not respond to words, it responds to frequency. Pretending projects confusion. Truth projects clarity. Once you start living honestly, your external world shifts to match. The wrong paths close. the right people appear. Opportunities that felt blocked begin to open because you are finally broadcasting a coherent signal. This is what spiritual science calls alignment with the field. When your inner state matches your outer actions, energy flows effortlessly. You stop fighting reality and start collaborating with it. You no longer need to force results. They emerge from resonance. So tell yourself the truth. Are you building a life that expands you, or one that numbs you? Are you honoring your intuition or silencing it? Are you following joy or performing duty? These answers are not punishments. They are coordinates. They show you where you are on the map of your becoming. And once you know where you stand, you can choose where to go next. Honesty is not the end of comfort. It is the beginning of control. It clears the fog, reclaims your focus, and brings your soul back into command. You are not behind. You are simply being invited to rebuild on a foundation of truth. Every honest acknowledgement strengthens that foundation. Every small correction brings you closer to coherence. And when your life starts to match your truth, peace returns, not as escape, but as power. So stop pretending. Look at your life without filters. Speak the truth, even if your voice shakes. The moment you do, you stop surviving and start living. Chapter 8. Learn to sit alone without feeling broken inside. There is a kind of silence that terrifies most people, not because it is empty, but because it is honest. When the world around you quiets, everything you've avoided begins to speak. The thoughts you suppress, the emotions you dismiss, the questions you've postponed, they all rise to the surface in solitude. This is why so many run from being alone. But if you cannot sit with yourself, you will never truly know yourself. And if you do not know yourself, you will always seek externally what only internal peace can provide. Being alone is not the same as being lonely. Loneliness is the absence of connection. Solitude is the presence of self. Loneliness says, "No one is here for me." Solitude says, "I am here for me." The first drains you, the second restores you. When you learn to sit alone, you are not losing company. You are regaining wholeness. You are returning to the source of your energy, the root of your awareness. From a spiritual scientific view, your energetic field expands and repairs itself in solitude. The body's nervous system recalibrates. Your brain waves slow. Your frequency stabilizes. This is why moments of stillness often feel sacred, because they are. When the external noise fades, your inner intelligence begins to speak. What once felt like emptiness becomes depth. Most people avoid that depth because it mirrors what's unhealed. When you sit in stillness, the pain you've numbed begins to surface. Old memories rise, regrets whisper, fears crawl out of the corners of your subconscious. But they appear not to punish you. They appear to be seen. Energy trapped in suppression cannot dissolve until it is acknowledged. Silence then becomes medicine. The discomfort you feel is detox your soul, clearing the static. At first, you may want to escape it. You'll reach for your phone, your music, your next distraction. But if you resist that impulse and simply stay, something miraculous happens. The storm settles. The thoughts lose intensity. Beneath the noise, a gentle awareness emerges. That awareness is not fragile, it is eternal. It observes everything, but is touched by nothing. That awareness is you, the part of you that exists beyond emotion, beyond identity, beyond circumstance. You cannot rebuild a life from disconnection. You can achieve goals, gather applause, and accumulate possessions. But without connection to self, you will feel hollow. To rebuild from truth, you must root your life in presence. Solitude is where that rooting happens. It is where you stop reacting to the world and start remembering who you are before the world told you who to be. Being alone is a test of emotional maturity. When you can sit in silence without needing noise, you transcend dependency. No one can control you by leaving, because you have already made peace with your own company. No one can distract you with attention, because you no longer crave validation to feel whole. You become a generator of peace instead of a seeker of it. There is profound freedom in this. When you enjoy your own presence, you stop chasing temporary connections to fill emotional gaps. You stop settling for half-hearted friendships or conditional love. You stop grasping for constant stimulation. You move through the world as someone full, not someone hungry. And from that fullness, your relationships deepen, not from need, but from resonance. This is why spiritual masters, thinkers, and creators throughout history all spoke of solitude as initiation. Alone time is not a void. It is an altar. It is where you meet your soul without distraction. It is where creativity ignites insight, downloads, and healing completes its cycle. The more you learn to be alone, the more your energy refines. The more your energy refines, the clearer your path becomes. If being alone feels unbearable, begin gently. Start with 5 minutes a day of silence. Sit with your breath. Notice the thoughts that arise without judging them. If emotion comes, let it. Tears are just energy releasing form. If memories appear, thank them. They are leaving. The key is to stay open. You are not broken because you feel pain. You are healing because you are finally letting yourself feel. Over time, you'll notice that the silence no longer feels hostile. It begins to embrace you. You'll look forward to these moments of stillness, where no one is asking, no one is expecting, and no one is performing. You'll realize that solitude is not absence, it is presence multiplied. In that presence, you start to sense a deep truth. The universe inside you is vast. You carry galaxies of thought, emotion, and potential within your consciousness. To explore that is to meet divinity directly. You begin to see that you are not lonely. You are luminous. You are not empty. You are infinite. When you master solitude, your energy becomes grounded, your intuition strengthens, and your relationships transform. You no longer cling to people out of fear. You connect out of joy. You no longer run from silence. You crave it. You no longer chase peace. You embody it. Learn to sit alone until your mind softens, your breath deepens, and your heart opens. Learn to sit until what once felt like silence begins to sound like symphony. That is when you know you have rebuilt not just your life, but your center. You are never truly alone when you are fully with yourself. Chapter 9. Keep promises you make to yourself every day. The fastest way to lose power is to break your own word. The world doesn't steal your confidence, you give it away each time you betray a promise you've made to yourself. You tell yourself you'll start tomorrow, and when you don't, something deep inside you learns not to believe your own voice. That fracture is invisible, but it is the root of every form of doubt. When you begin rebuilding, you must start with this sacred law. Your word is energy. Every time you declare an intention, you send a signal into both your nervous system and the universe. When you follow through, that signal strengthens and multiplies. When you neglect it, the frequency collapses. Integrity is not a moral virtue, it's energetic consistency. It's the alignment of thought, speech, and action. When those three become one, your power becomes unshakable. Think of how you treat commitments to others. You show up on time. You keep your promises because you value their trust. But what about your own? Why do you protect other people's expectations more fiercely than your own destiny? You are the only constant companion you will ever have in this life. To rebuild your foundation, you must become someone you can rely on completely. Every small promise matters. Waking up when you said you would. Drinking the water you committed to. Writing the single page you promised to write. None of these acts are trivial. They are training. Each kept promise tells your subconscious, we are trustworthy. Your subconscious, once convinced, will begin to organize your entire behavior toward success. Science calls it cognitive consistency. Spirit calls it energetic coherence. Both describe the same phenomenon: alignment between inner intention and external action. You cannot build self-respect without self-trust. People often chase motivation, but motivation fades. What remains is the quiet contract you hold with yourself. I do what I say I'll do. It doesn't have to be grand. Even a small private act of follow-through rewires your identity. Every morning you keep your word. You send a signal to your cells, your mind, and your field that says, I can count on me. And when you can count on yourself, you no longer need the world's validation. You become your own anchor. The spiritual dimension of this law is profound. Every thought you commit to holds vibration. When you fulfill that commitment, you complete an energetic loop, an exchange between intention and manifestation. But when you constantly break your own word, you create open loops in your energy field, tiny leaks where power escapes. Over time, that creates fatigue, confusion, and self-doubt. Repair begins by closing those loops one, by keeping your word, even when it's inconvenient, even when no one sees. Discipline is not punishment. It is devotion. It's how you worship the potential that was entrusted to you. When you treat your commitments as sacred, life begins to treat you as trustworthy. The universe responds to integrity. Like an echo, it multiplies what you embody. If you say you'll take care of your body, and you do, life expands your vitality. If you say you'll create, and you do, life expands your opportunities. Action is language, and the universe listens to consistency more than words. There will be days you fall short. You'll miss the workout, lose focus, skip the task. Don't turn that into shame. Turn it into recommitment. The strength of integrity isn't in never breaking it, but in how quickly you return to it. The faster you realign after a slip, the stronger the new pattern becomes. The old you stayed in guilt. The rebuilt you moves in grace. Remember, keeping promises doesn't just strengthen your will, it heals your nervous system. Each time you act on what you said you would, your brain releases serotonin and dopamine, affirming safety and reward. Over time, this creates stability, calm, and grounded confidence. You stop negotiating with yourself, stop overthinking, and start doing. Make your word your foundation. Protect it. Don't declare more than you intend to honor. Speak less. Follow through more. When you do this long enough, something beautiful happens. Your words start to carry weight, not just with others, but with reality itself. Your speech begins to manifest faster because the universe knows you mean it. You've built spiritual credit through consistency. Every promise kept is a brick of self-belief. Every commitment fulfilled is a signal of integrity. Every quiet act of follow-through is a declaration that says, I am someone who builds, not someone who breaks. And over time, as these promises accumulate, you'll notice a shift. You won't need to hype yourself up. You won't crave validation or inspiration. You'll simply act, because action will feel natural, expected, inevitable. You will have rebuilt your trust, and with it, your entire energetic structure. Keep your word. Keep it when it's easy, and especially when it's hard. Keep it when no one is watching. Keep it when it feels small, because that smallness is the seed of greatness. When you live this way, you become unstoppable, not because you're fearless, but because you're consistent. The most powerful words you'll ever speak are the ones you keep. Chapter 10. Do the work when no one is watching. The world loves visible effort. It rewards public results. But real transformation, the kind that lasts, happens in private. It's built in the quiet hours when no one is applauding, when no one sees the grind, when it's just you, your discipline, and the decision to keep going. What you build in silence becomes the foundation that speaks for you when it's time to rise. Anyone can act inspired when the lights are on. Few have the strength to remain devoted when no one is watching. Yet that is where greatness is born, in the unglamorous repetition of doing what needs to be done without seeking credit or validation. This is the unseen labor of self-mastery, the sacred work of building momentum without audience. In neuroscience, consistency rewires the brain through a principle called long-term potentiation neurons that fire together, wired together. Every repetition strengthens the connection until it becomes automatic. Spiritually, this mirrors the law of vibration. What you practice in private becomes the frequency you broadcast in public. Hidden effort shapes visible reality. When you show up every day, not because someone expects you to, but because you expect it of yourself, you enter a different energetic league. You become trustworthy to life itself. You signal to the universe that you are serious, that your words are backed by endurance. And the universe always meets endurance with opportunity. But if you only move when others are watching, your energy remains shallow. You become addicted to validation instead of progress. That dependency keeps you externally motivated, which means the moment applause fades, you lose direction. Discipline, on the other hand, is internalized devotion. It doesn't depend on mood, it's built on purpose. Think of nature. The seed does its greatest work underground, unseen, silent, persistent. It splits itself open in darkness before it ever reaches the sun. The same process applies to your evolution. The days no one sees the effort, no one celebrates. The small improvements, no one claps. For those are the roots of mastery. When the time comes, your results will seem sudden to others, but you will know they were built quietly, one choice at a time. Spiritual science teaches that energy accumulates where focus remains steady. Every time you show up in solitude, training, studying, writing, building, you are charging your energetic field. The longer you stay consistent, the stronger that charge becomes, until it crystallizes into manifestation. This is why your invisible work is never wasted. Energy never disappears. It compounds. Most people quit right before that crystallization point. They confuse silence for stagnation, forgetting that gestation always precedes growth. Just because nothing looks different yet doesn't mean nothing is happening. Faith is the bridge between action and evidence. Keep crossing it. Keep showing up. Doing the work when no one watches also refines your integrity. Without an audience, there is no one to impress, only the self to honor. You begin to work for meaning, not approval. That shift makes you unshakable. When your motivation comes from internal alignment, external circumstances lose control over you. Rain or shine, recognition or rejection, you move. Because movement itself becomes sacred. Your results will be quieter than others at first. That's okay. You are not building noise. You are building depth. You are not chasing speed. You are cultivating substance. Public success without private discipline is hollow. It collapses under scrutiny. But private discipline builds the kind of success that endures storms because it's rooted in integrity, not attention. In this solitude, learn to love the process itself. Let repetition become ritual. Let effort become meditation. Each act done with presence, writing a line, lifting a weight, practicing a skill builds coherence in your mind and calm in your energy. Over time, this coherence becomes visible confidence. You begin to move differently. You carry quiet certainty that doesn't need to shout. And when people finally notice your results, they will call it luck timing or talent. Let them. They didn't see the nights you stayed steady when no one cared, the mornings you rose before dawn, the hours of doubt you turned into focus. But you will know. You'll know that every silent effort was a brick in your unseen temple. Do not rush to be seen. The longer your roots grow underground, the higher your branches can reach. The depth of your preparation determines the height of your manifestation. So stay consistent. Do the work when the room is empty. Do it when your energy is low. Do it when no one claps. Because eventually the world will reflect what you practiced in private, and it will look like destiny. But it was never destiny. It was discipline. Remember this truth: the universe keeps perfect score. Every effort counts, even the invisible ones, especially the invisible ones. Keep showing up. The silence is not absence, it is incubation. Chapter 11. Embrace discomfort as your teacher. Growth doesn't come wrapped in comfort. It comes disguised as challenge, as moments that test your patience, your endurance, and your faith in yourself. The instinct to avoid discomfort is the mind's attempt to protect you. But what it protects you from is often the very friction that shapes your strength. Every breakthrough is preceded by resistance. The pressure you feel is not punishment. It's transformation, in motion. In the physical world, a muscle grows only after it tears. The same principle governs your inner evolution. Every time you stretch past what feels easy, you create micro-tears in old identity patterns, beliefs that once kept you small. When you rest, reflect, and continue again, those fragments heal stronger. This is neuroplasticity at work. The brain literally rewires to support the new standard you're creating. Spiritually, it's alchemy, the transmutation of pain into power. Most people quit when things start to burn. They mistake discomfort for danger, forgetting that discomfort is the language of progress. You cannot expand and stay the same. Expansion requires heat, the heat that melts away who you were, so you can become who you are meant to be. When you rebuild yourself, you'll feel the tension between the old self that craves safety and the new self that demands growth. That tension is sacred. It's the threshold between past and possibility. Don't numb it. Lean into it. Each time you choose presence over escape, you prove to yourself that you can survive intensity, and more than that, you can use it. There's a cosmic law that says energy cannot be destroyed, only transformed. Your pain, your frustration, your fear, they are raw energy waiting for direction. The moment you stop labeling them as bad and start asking, what is this trying to teach me, the energy shifts from resistance to wisdom. Discomfort is coded intelligence. It exposes what still needs healing, where your boundaries are weak, and what you've outgrown. Sit with your unease. Breathe through it. Notice where in your body it lives, the tightening of your chest, the heaviness in your stomach, the restless thoughts. Don't rush to fix them. Observe them. The observation itself changes the vibration. It signals your nervous system that you are safe enough to feel, and safety is what turns pain into clarity. From a spiritual scientific view, every emotion has a measurable frequency. Lower frequencies fear shame, guilt feel heavy because their vibration is slow. Higher frequencies, courage, gratitude, love, feel light because they move faster. The way to rise is not to deny the low, but to face it with awareness. Awareness is light. The moment light enters darkness, darkness dissolves. When life feels uncomfortable, remember you are not breaking. You are expanding. The discomfort means you've reached the edge of your current vibration. Stay there long enough and your frequency recalibrates. The next time what once felt unbearable will feel natural. This is evolution. You don't grow by wishing for ease. You grow by staying conscious through difficulty. Every challenge you face becomes part of your energetic architecture wisdom embedded in your aura. The more discomfort you integrate, the calmer your presence becomes, because nothing outside can shake a person who has already faced themselves within. So the next time you find yourself in chaos, whisper this truth. This is my initiation. Let the heat purify you. Let the resistance carve your edges sharp. Let the discomfort teach you resilience, patience, and grace under pressure. In the silence of struggle, something extraordinary is happening. Your soul is forging armor, made of awareness. Chapter 12. Trust the process. Even when you can't see progress. There will come a point in your rebuilding when everything feels uncertain, when you've done the work, made the changes, kept the promises, yet nothing outside seems to move. You'll look around and wonder if your effort even matters. You'll question whether the universe heard your intention. You'll feel invisible, like you're walking through fog without a map. This is the phase that breaks most people, but it's also the one that transforms those who stay. Trusting the process means believing in unseen growth. Just because you can't see movement doesn't mean there isn't any. Roots grow downward before branches reach upward. The invisible always precedes the visible. Life's most sacred progress happens beneath the surface, in silence, in patience, in faith. Your job isn't to control the timeline. Your job is to stay consistent within it. When nothing seems to work, that's when your energy is being rearranged. Old patterns are being dismantled. New alignments are forming. You are being recalibrated for a higher frequency of reality, one that matches your new standards. The delay is not denial, it's preparation. Science calls this latency, the period between input and visible response. In physics, a wave builds potential energy before it's released as motion. Spiritually, it's the law of gestation. Every creation requires a waiting period between seed and bloom. You wouldn't dig up a seed to check if it's growing. You'd water it, trust it, and let nature take its course. The same applies to your evolution. The mind panics when it can't measure progress. It equates stillness with failure. But your soul understands that transformation is cyclical, not linear. You're not stuck. You're incubating. The universe is aligning variables, people, timing, opportunities that you can't yet perceive. When it's ready, it will unfold suddenly, like dawn, breaking after a long night. From an energetic view, every time you act with faith, you strengthen your vibration of certainty. That frequency attracts outcomes faster than effort fueled by fear. Worry slows the signal. Surrender amplifies it. Trust is not passive. It's active cooperation with the flow of life. It means showing up fully each day, not to force results, but to maintain resonance with what you desire. Ask yourself, what if nothing is wrong? What if everything is unfolding exactly as it should, just not yet revealed? That perspective alone changes your energy from desperation to confidence, from resistance to readiness. The universe responds differently to someone who moves from faith instead of fear. You've probably noticed that right before a breakthrough, things often get harder. That's not coincidence, it's compression. The old timeline collapses before the new one appears. The chaos you feel is the dismantling of what's no longer aligned. The more intense it becomes, the closer you are to the shift. So instead of asking, when will it happen? Start asking, how can I stay aligned while it unfolds? You trust the process by continuing to act in integrity when no reward is visible. You trust it by speaking abundance when lack surrounds you. You trust it by maintaining gratitude while the evidence is still unseen. This is how energetic mastery is built, not by reacting to appearances, but by holding frequency in the dark. Every soul that has ever risen into greatness has endured this invisible season. The seed sits in darkness before light touches it. The caterpillar dissolves into chaos before becoming a butterfly. You are in that sacred in-between, no longer who you were, not yet who you're becoming. Don't rush it. Don't force clarity. Breathe. Keep doing the work. The universe is not testing you. It's aligning with you. And when it's time, the results will emerge so naturally that you'll realize the process was working all along. The waiting is not wasted time. It's refinement. Trust the unseen construction of your destiny. Your job is to stay steady in vibration, graceful in delay, and faithful in the dark. Because everything you can't yet see is quietly becoming everything you asked for. Chapter 13. Master your energy before you manage your life. Everything in your life, your relationships, your opportunities, your success, is a reflection of your energy. Before things shift on the outside, they must first shift within. Most people try to control the external, their schedule, their goals, their outcomes. But the wise learn to master the invisible currents that drive it all: their frequency, their focus, their emotional state. Because energy precedes reality. Your energy is your signature. It enters a room before you speak. It shapes how people respond to you, and it determines what you attract. Every thought you repeat becomes vibration. Every emotion you dwell on becomes momentum. And every belief you hold becomes a signal to the universe saying, "More of this, please." When you understand this, you stop chasing control and start cultivating coherence. You realize that inner chaos creates outer confusion, while inner balance magnetizes clarity. This isn't abstract spirituality, it's physics. Energy organizes itself according to resonance. High-frequency energy, peace, purpose, gratitude, attracts experiences of the same quality. Low-frequency energy, fear, resentment, doubt, draws more of its kind. You don't get what you want. You get what you are. To master your energy, begin with awareness. Notice how your body feels when you're aligned. Your breathing slows. Your chest expands. Your mind feels calm, yet alert. That's coherence. Notice also when you feel contracted, your muscles tense, your thoughts race, your intuition goes quiet. That's resistance. The goal isn't to stay high vibe all the time. It's to notice when you've dropped and consciously return. Spiritual science calls this energetic regulation. It's the art of managing your internal state independent of external conditions. When you can hold peace in the middle of uncertainty, you become magnetic. Because peace is power in motion. It communicates to the universe, I already trust the outcome. That confidence rearranges everything around you. Every morning, reset your field before touching your phone, before letting the world into your mind. Sit in silence for a few minutes. Breathe deeply. Visualize your energy expanding, bright, grounded, radiant. Imagine yourself surrounded by calm light that filters out negativity and amplifies strength. This isn't fantasy, it's intention. Intention directs energy, and energy directs matter. Throughout the day, guard your vibration like it's sacred currency, because it is. Notice who drains you, what environments deplete you, what habits lower your clarity. Protect your focus the way a warrior guards their weapon. Energy leaks in small ways: complaining, gossip, self-doubt, multitasking without awareness. Every leak weakens your signal. If you want a calm life, cultivate calm energy. If you want abundance, embody gratitude before you receive it. Gratitude is one of the highest measurable frequencies. It opens your electromagnetic field, signaling more to flow your way. You can't fake it, you must feel it. Gratitude in the absence of evidence is spiritual mastery. It tells the universe, I trust you. When you master energy, time bends. Opportunities accelerate. People respond differently. You'll notice synchronicities appearing, the right message at the right moment, the right connection, just when you needed it. That's not coincidence. That's coherence at work, the alignment between your vibration and your destiny. Remember this: your energy speaks louder than your effort. You can work hard and still feel stuck if you're operating from scarcity. But a single inspired action from alignment can move mountains. The key is not force, it's frequency. You are a transmitter and receiver in a field of infinite potential. Your emotional state is the dial. Turn it deliberately. Master your morning, and you master your day. Master your emotions, and you master your outcomes. Master your energy, and you master your life. The goal of rebuilding isn't to control the world, it's to command your own field so powerfully that the world must rearrange itself around your clarity. Chapter 14. Rewrite your past through a new state of being. The past is not fixed. It lives as memory, and memory is energy, electrical, chemical, and emotional. Every time you revisit an old story, you reactivate its vibration in your present moment. That's why people stay trapped, not because the past is still happening, but because they keep reliving it energetically. To rebuild yourself, you must learn to rewire your relationship with your history, not by forgetting it, but by transforming the frequency of how you hold it. Your mind is not a recording device, it's a projector. It replays not events, but emotional imprints. When you feel shame, regret, or grief about something long gone, your body responds as if it's happening again, right now. Neurologically, the brain cannot tell the difference between what you imagine and what you experience. So every time you recall pain, without awareness, you anchor that pain deeper. Every time you revisit a memory with compassion, you begin to free it. This is what spiritual science calls timeline healing. The idea is simple. By changing your emotional state in the present, you send a new signal backward through the neural pathways that store that memory. The story remains the same, but the energy around it transforms. You are not erasing the past. You are rewriting the meaning of it. You might not be able to change what happened, but you can change who you become because of it. Every painful experience carries a coded lesson, a fragment of wisdom wrapped in emotion. The moment you extract that wisdom, the pain completes its purpose. It no longer needs to repeat itself. Begin by identifying which memories still charge your emotions. What do you avoid thinking about? what still feels heavy when mentioned. That's where energy is trapped. Sit with that memory, not to analyze, but to reframe. Ask yourself, what did this teach me about strength? What part of me became wiser because of this? What can I now release with gratitude? When you bless your past, you reclaim your power from it. Gratitude is the energy that closes loops it tells the nervous system. This story is complete. Forgiveness does the same. And forgiveness doesn't mean you condone what happened. It means you are done carrying it. You stop letting it define your identity. You release it not because they deserve peace, but because you do. Quantum physics supports this. Every moment contains infinite potential states. The version of you that still suffers and the version that's free exist simultaneously. By shifting your emotional frequency, you align with the timeline where healing has already occurred. That's why deep forgiveness or sudden insight can instantly change how you feel about a past event. You've literally changed energetic coordinates. From a cosmic perspective, your life isn't a straight line, it's a spiral. You revisit similar lessons at higher levels of awareness. Each return offers you a chance to respond differently, to react with consciousness instead of pain. That's progress. That's evolution. The more you heal your past, the clearer your future becomes. Because clarity is simply the absence of old noise. You stop projecting yesterday's wounds onto tomorrow's opportunities. You stop sabotaging new relationships with old fears. You stop reliving old failures and start creating new evidence of success. You can tell you've rewritten a past memory when you can think of it and feel peace instead of contraction. When it no longer defines your worth or limits your possibility, it has been alchemized into wisdom. That wisdom then becomes fuel, quiet strength that moves with you, not weight that holds you down. Remember, your past is a classroom, not a prison. Its purpose was to shape your awareness, not your identity. What happened to you becomes what happened for you the moment you decide to evolve from it. Let every painful chapter become a teacher, not a chain. Let every wound become a window for light to enter. The story isn't over. It's being rewritten through the frequency you live in now. You are not bound by your past. You are the consciousness that can reframe it at will. Chapter 15. Become the creator of your reality. There comes a moment in your rebuilding when you stop waiting for life to happen to you and begin shaping it through you. You realize that the future is not something you find. It's something you design moment by moment, thought by thought, choice by choice. You awaken from being a reactor to becoming a creator. That shift is the highest form of power a human being can embody. You create reality through vibration, not just action. Every belief you hold becomes a lens through which your brain filters the infinite data of the world. The quantum field is full of potential outcomes. Your focus collapses possibility into experience. What you consistently imagine and emotionally invest in becomes tangible. This isn't fantasy, it's quantum mechanics. Observation changes matter. Your awareness is the sculptor. Creation starts with clarity. You can't manifest what you keep doubting. Confusion emits static. Certainty emits signal. That's why before you chase, you must define. Who do you want to become? What energy do you want to live in? What would it feel like if that reality already existed? Feel it then. Move as though it's already yours. That emotional rehearsal programs the subconscious and aligns your frequency with your vision. The universe doesn't respond to begging. It responds to being. When you become the energy of what you seek, when gratitude, peace, and confidence are present, before the evidence, the external world rearranges to match it. You are not attracting. You are synchronizing. The outside mirrors the inside because they are never separate. Most people create unconsciously. They focus on fear, worry, and lack, and wonder why they attract chaos. But the universe is neutral. It simply amplifies whatever frequency you hold longest. That's why awareness is your greatest tool. You can't change what you don't notice. The moment you become conscious of your thoughts, you reclaim authorship of your story. From a scientific perspective, the brain's reticular activating system filters experiences to confirm your dominant beliefs. If you believe opportunities are rare, you'll only notice scarcity. If you believe you're guided and supported, you'll see synchronicities everywhere. What you perceive is not the world itself, but the world is filtered through your expectation. To create consciously, you must combine intention with action. Vision without movement is fantasy. Movement without alignment is noise. Creation lives where clarity and consistency meet. Each day repeat your vision, not as a wish, but as a command. Calm, confident, non-desperate. Take small, aligned steps that match it. Speak as if it's real. Behave as if you're ready. Prepare as if it's already on its way. This is energetic congruence, and congruence accelerates manifestation. Spiritually, you are not a fragment in a vast universe. You are the universe experiencing itself as you. When you shift your internal state, reality bends accordingly because there is no true separation between you and the field that holds all things. Prayer, visualization, and deliberate thought are all ways of tuning the instrument of consciousness to a new frequency. Once tuned, life plays in harmony. Creation also requires surrender. You set the direction, but you don't control the timing. You plant the seed, but you don't pull the roots. Let go of the need to know how it will happen. The how belongs to the field. Your task is to stay aligned, grateful, and ready. When you release control, you create space for higher intelligence to work. Every day is a canvas, and your thoughts are the brush. Every emotion is a color. Every choice is a stroke. The picture you paint repeatedly becomes the landscape you walk in. So paint consciously. Speak deliberately. Feel intentionally. You are not the result of your circumstances. You are the architect of them. The moment you stop waiting for signs and start being the sign, creation begins to flow through you effortlessly. The energy that once felt chaotic becomes creative fire. The life that once felt random becomes rhythm. To rebuild yourself completely is to remember this one truth: you were never meant to follow the script, you were meant to write it. Create with courage. Create with conviction. Create with consciousness. Because the world around you is simply waiting for you to remember that you are its author. Conclusion. The return to wholeness. Every journey of rebuilding begins with a fracture, the realization that something inside you has been forgotten, neglected, or silenced. But as you've walked through this path of awareness, responsibility, solitude, discipline, trust, and creation, you've come to understand something sacred. You were never truly broken. You were simply in the process of remembering your power. All along, life has not been testing you. It has been training you. Every setback carved strength into your spirit. Every delay refined your patience. Every loss cleared space for alignment. You are not emerging as someone new. You are returning to who you've always been, beneath the noise. This is what true wholeness means: to live from the center of your being, not from reaction, not from fear, but from awareness. To know that peace is not found when the world calms down, it's found when you do. The outer world mirrors your internal frequency. When you move with presence, the external falls into order naturally. You've learned that rebuilding is not about perfection. It's about presence. It's about waking up each morning and choosing consciousness over habit courage, over avoidance clarity, over confusion. Every day you decide to show up for yourself is a declaration that says, I am worthy of my own effort. And that simple act, repeated, refined, and reaffirmed, changes everything. From a spiritual scientific view, your evolution is measurable. Your thoughts emit electromagnetic fields. Your emotions sculpt your biochemistry. Your frequency creates your future. Every meditation, every moment of gratitude, every conscious breath is rewiring the very fabric of who you are. You're not waiting for change. You are becoming the generator of it. Look back now. The version of you that began this journey might not have believed they could make it here, but you did. You faced the silence. You faced the truth. You faced yourself, and that is the highest form of courage there is. The energy that once scattered now flows with direction. The self-doubt that once whispered has turned into quiet confidence. You have become the builder of your own peace, the keeper of your own word, the guardian of your own energy. You've learned that power isn't loud, it's steady. It's in your ability to stay calm when others panic, to keep faith when others give up, to keep building when no one's watching. Understand this. Your story doesn't end here. Rebuilding is not a single moment. It's a rhythm, a lifelong dance between expansion and stillness. You'll rise, fall, learn, and rise again. But each time you'll return, wiser, stronger, softer, because you now know that every ending is simply the universe reorganizing itself for your next beginning. So walk forward with grace, speak with clarity, create with intention. The world doesn't need another perfect person. It needs conscious ones. People who live with presence, who create with compassion, who rebuild not just themselves, but the collective energy of everything around them. And when doubt returns, because it will place your hand over your heart, take a breath and remember this truth. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are becoming. Every moment of awareness is progress. Every act of self-respect is prayer. Every breath in alignment is creation. The universe is not waiting to give you peace. It's waiting for you to realize you already are peace. You are whole. You always were. And now, you finally remember. If this audiobook gave you even one moment of clarity, share it with someone who might need the same pause. And subscribe, so next time, calm finds you first.